What's up, guys? Hope y'all are doing well today. I was actually doing a little bit of grueling work in the office. I don't really like sitting down in the office. I'd much rather be out in the yard, digging some holes, planting some trees, meeting clients. That's what I enjoy. So the paperwork, don't really like it too much. I actually came out here to stick a couple things in the mailbox this morning, and as I was coming out, Ian's here and had him doing some chores around the farm this morning, and he's doing a lot of chopping and not quite dropping. So we're not dropping this right in place, and that's what I wanted to talk to you about for a minute. I'm going to take you out here to the front and kind of, I guess you could say, a bit of a follow-up on my Comfrey of the South video. So that was that Tithonia diversifolia, the Mexican sunflower, and that's that biomass plant of the South that we talk about a lot. Pretty much our, one of our favorite plants for biomass. I mean, this thing is pound for pound equal to chicken manure, and that's that Mexican sunflower, and we typically never let it get this tall. And I'm gonna start trying to move the camera a little slower. I noticed in my gym video, I was definitely a little bit on that fast side, so I take notice of this stuff. I'm gonna try to slow down for y'all. But you can see we've got the golf cart out this morning. I've got my little handy 12-foot trailer, and this is the very front of my property. This is that north side, and they got really large. I mean, they were actually just starting to flower a little bit. We don't typically manage them like that, we just cut them back to this. And they'll be 6 foot again here in just a couple of weeks. I mean, this stuff grows fast. I mean, it's, we're in Florida, it's raining right now. Things grow really, really quick. So you can see, there's some old chop and drop, that old black material that we have in this bed. So that's the old Mexican sunflower. That's what this is right here. And this is the old grass. That's that Fakahatchee grass. So I talk about dropping the carbon nitrogen ratio. Well, this front bed here along the front of the property, these ground covers are really establishing. That's that mimosa, that's that sensitive plant. That's a nitrogen fixing ground cover. So I'm actually running out of places here to drop this biomass. So today what we're doing, we're loading all this biomass on the trailer, and we're gonna take it back to the more shaded areas of the farm where this Tithonia won't grow, and we're gonna drop it on that Mexican sunflower, or on bananas. So we'll put this on the heavy feeders. Bananas, I talk about, if they're not fruiting, you're not feeding them. They like a lot of food, so they will love this. So we're talking about, what do you think we got here, Ian?
Easily
how many?
1,000 pounds.
1,000 pounds? You want to show people what 100 pounds of poop looks like? Why don't you manhandle some of that? Pick a chunk up for me real quick, Ian. No, literally though, this stuff is pure biomass, dynamic accumulator, pound for pound equal to chicken manure.
Probably 80 pounds or so.
80 pounds. Would you rather hold 80 pounds of manure with your hand, or Mexican sunflower? It's your choice. So, this is one kick-ass biomass plant. We stick a cutting in the ground, this thing takes off. It's unbelievable. It's a lot easier to handle, obviously, than manure. You don't need a pitchfork. It doesn't smell. Not attracting flies, So we're cutting it down from these places all the way along this front of the farm. And you can see, there is a couple of bare spots. So right there, we'll lay a little bit in that spot. Wherever we have bare ground, we want to constantly protect that. So now that that big, 10-foot chunk of biomass that was shading all that soil is gone, before it recovers, we'll lay some of that in that area. Like I had mentioned before, not having, a ground cover here, it's like not having skin on our arms. We're opening ourselves up for diseases. We're opening ourselves up for infections. Obviously with the ground, we're opening ourselves up for weeds, Something's gonna find a way. Nature always does. So just a little bit of a follow-up to that Comfrey of the South, pound for pound equal to chicken manure. We had a lot of bamboo originally planted out here. Didn't really think it out too well, just getting to know the varieties. I have power lines up here. So I've relocated all but this one dwarf variety along the front of the farm, and we have olives, Fakahatchee grass, chaya, firebush. You can see the butterflies in here. Grafted loquats, dwarf firebush, cut back Tithonia. So this is the front of the house. These are the things that do well for us. Olives are really doing well right now. We even have some cassava, manioc, here in the front. Some of the black bean ground cover kind of up along the fence over there. There's that, mimosa. So it's a beautiful, quiet morning out here. And here's an area that hasn't quite developed a mimosa. There's a little 30-foot stretch. So I just mentioned to Ian, come back. Let's put a little bit on this area just to protect that soil, and also leave a couple of openings and plant a few more mimosa. The idea is, that we can take all this biomass back to those areas in the shade where I can't grow the Mexican sunflower and feed the bananas, so we don't have to always haul chicken manure in. You know, this Tithonia, or Mexican sunflower, it's really easy to work with. You know, it's really soft, it's not sharp, it's not smelly, it's not sticky. You know, there's no white ooze coming out of it when you're cutting it, you know, like maybe you'd get from the Chaya or something like that. So pound for pound equal to chicken manure. 1,000 pounds of poop on the trailer. So that's my rare fruit hunter, my partner in crime over here. I've seen Ian in some of our videos. And Ian, how long you been out here working on this?
Maybe about an hour now. About an
hour. He's got 1,000 pounds of poop. Got the front cleaned up over here, so it doesn't take a lot of time. He's by himself. If there was 2 of us, obviously you could do this in 25-30 minutes. He had to go get the trailer, hook up to the golf cart. You can see it comes down pretty quick. Let's watch this for a second. And typically we would just chop and drop that and lay it around the loquats, lay it around the olives, you know, any kind of heavy feeder that we have here. But like I mentioned, we have a nitrogen fixing ground cover that's doing really well up here, you know, so long term we could even phase this out if we don't want to chop and drop it. But you know, it doesn't take us a lot of time. It's great biomass. You know, I've even heard of this Mexican sunflower or Tithonia being a complete source of nutrition for rabbits, and this is all they feed them. You know, this is the only thing. They don't supplement with anything else. So this stuff's pretty amazing. Definitely has a insane growth rate. I mean, no flowers yet?
There were some flower buds on some of these.
I figured they had to be getting close. We don't usually let them get this, you know, tall. So what do you think? We normally cut these back about once a month?
Yeah, about once a month.
About once a month. And how tall are they normally when we come in? They're just a couple of foot above normal, right?
Yeah.
I'd say they grow back up to the fence, and we have a 6-foot chain link up there in the front. So, well, farm is looking good. Bamboo's looking good. We just did some heavy chop and drop last week when Casey was in town on that market garden, but we've got butterflies, bees, all types of wildlife going on out here this morning. It's nice and quiet too, so chopping, not dropping, but pound for pound equal to chicken manure. Having some fun. Ian, can we get a peace out? All right, y'all have a good day.